Okay, here it says we're going to be talking about Trump. And Trump is under investigation. It has been for the last couple years, but they're finally bringing the case against him. Now, the crazy thing about it is they're not only bringing a civil case against him, but they are now bringing a criminal case against him. And it looks like indictment is going to be imminent. So here we have a report where it says a grand jury has reportedly been convened in Manhattan's district attorney's criminal investigation into Trump. It says Manhattan's district attorney, Cyrus Vance Jr., has convened a grand jury as his office investigates whether the Trump organization violated state laws, the Washington Post reported. It says the grand jury will meet 3 days a week for 6 months to consider evidence, not in just the Trump investigation, but also in other matters, according to the Post. It says the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is conducting a wide-ranging inquiry into the Trump Organization and former President Donald Trump's finances. Court records show. The major point of examination is whether the Trump Organization broke state tax laws by keeping 2 sets of books, one for favorable tax loan rates and the other to pay little in taxes. Now, we're going to stop right there for 1 second because to me, do I think Trump should be investigated and indicted? There's pros and cons to that, and I'm going to give them to you at the end. I'm going to give my opinion on that. But what I will say right now is, do I think that this is basically what Trump is going to consider a witch hunt, and is it going to backfire? Is yes. I do think this is at this point a witch hunt, right? You had 4 years to get him. You relentlessly went after him. If we're going to start talking about Trump keeping 2 sets of books, and you're going to start trying to get him on some tax loan type of fraud, tax evasion, then what are we talking about here? Right? Is this really the worst crime that's committed by a sitting politician for everybody on the left or any progressive, which I consider myself way more progressive than most? Right? What are we saying here? Are we saying that basically that we could go after the politicians for these white collar crimes? Because then I would have to say that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, and every other Democrat and every other person on the left, mostly every other person that's on the left, if not all, but a high percentage of them, over 90%, 85%, I'm going to go 85% or more, you can pull this shit with. Okay, not only tax evasion, but Nancy Pelosi with the stock exchange and buying into Microsoft right as the stock's going to boom, with all the insider trading and all the corrupt and illegal shit that goes on, all the bribes, all the taking of bribes. Again, before Donald Trump became president, he was a regular donator to Joe Biden campaigns in the past. He was a regular contributor and donator to Kamala Harris. They are all in bed together. So to sit here and act like Trump is doing so, if that's the case, then you need to open up investigations on all of these politicians. So if you're not going to open up an investigation in the case against Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or a Chuck Schumer or a Kamala Harris or any of these other Democratic senators, congressmen and women, and presidents and former presidents, then I would have to just say you have to leave Trump alone. Because at this point, I'm going to agree with Trump and I'm going to have to agree with Republicans. And then when they get power, they can just come and do the same thing. And literally everybody can get locked the hell up because they're all corrupt. Is Trump the most corrupt? Maybe, I don't know, but are they all definitely corrupt at some point in way, shape, and fashion? Yes. So why go after Trump? You understand? So this is just opening up a can of worms that obviously people on the left do this all the time. I don't mind them going down this, matter of fact, this rabbit hole if this is what they're going to do. I don't believe they're going to follow all the way through with it. They're going to just drop this shit and let it go because even if the New York District Attorney's Office and Attorney General doesn't want to let it go, I can't see them convicting. I just can't. It just will open up too much liability for everyone else that's in this power structure. Again, if you could go after Trump, then you go after Biden. If you go after Biden, you go after Pelosi. If you go after Pelosi, you go after McConnell. If you go after McConnell, you go after Schumer. If you go after Schumer, you go after Mitt. All right, this could go tit for tat, back and forth. They're all fully corrupted, fully coerced. Tax fraud is the least of the problems with a lot of these sitting congressmen and women and sitting senators. So I would say this is all basically foolery to even just wasting the taxpayer money and time when there's so much other shit and important shit to focus on. Right? If this is going to be some shit you're going at Trump for so he can't run in 2024, okay, I can understand that angle. But just go ahead and beat him, man. Like you're supposed to, like the Constitution says. Why are you using all this underhanded, unfair, unjust treatment? I would never say that it would be unjust to Trump because even if he does it, I'm not going to have no one bit of sorrow for this. Right? I'm not going to have no sorrow for him. But do I see the hypocrisy? Yes. And again, if you're not going to do it to Biden, Pelosi, and Schumer, then you shouldn't do it to Romney, McConnell, or Trump. You understand what I'm saying? If you're not going to do it to both, then let's all put the cards on the table and let's all get to the bottom of this shit. Who's corrupt? Who's doing what? I don't even know if Trump would come out on the top of that pile. Maybe he'll be in the top 5 running, but I don't know if he'll come out as the most corrupt. Simply because he's only been in politics for 4 years. The rest of these people has been in politics for damn near their whole life, decade upon decades. Biden's got over 40-some years of corruption. So I would say that this is probably a rabbit hole that they don't want to go down as Democrats. But I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out. It says earlier this year, Vance's office scored a major victory when the Supreme Court cleared the way for it to obtain 8 years of Trump's closely held tax returns. Legal experts also said in March that Vance would likely want to make charging decisions before his retirement at the end of the year. That's the other thing that was very important. That little part right there is that this guy, Vance, who is the district attorney and has teamed up with the attorney general, Letitia James. The interesting thing is this is, it could have been an angle of where he was trying to, do this for his career, do this for, for a re-election so he can get re-elected, just get the notoriety. This is a big case. But it's interesting because he's retiring. So this is maybe more of a personal vendetta than a climb up the ladder. But I can't always say that because also who knows what his political aspirations are, this Vance guy, right? Maybe just because he's retiring from being district attorney, maybe he has other uh, political aspirations, right? Maybe he's planning on running for something else, and he would like to get this. He's got this. He would like to put this notch on his belt. So that can also be a huge incentive of why they're coming out this particular office. And it's interesting that he's retiring and he's pushing it so goddamn hard, right? So it's not so he can obviously win the election and become a district attorney again. But again, who knows what other political aspirations he may have, because uh, this is political. Make no mistake about it. There are plenty different angles to come from, and there could be multiple angles that are right. Uh, but I think one of them would be so Trump can't run in 2024, take away his option to do so. The other can be, like I say, this particular district attorney who's about to retire, right? Because remember now, the elections are the primaries start in June, and then the actual elections I think are in November. But this Vance character is set to retire, and he's not running after after a decade in office. So, what is his motivations? I wouldn't be surprised to see him show up on the scene somewhere here in the near future, running for some type of office. I think that's a high possibility. It says previously court filings suggested that the investigation was sparked by testimony from Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, that the Trump Organization facilitated a hush money payment to the adult film actress Stormy Daniels during the 2016 U.S. election, which could also be a violation of state tax laws. Prosecutors are also scrutinizing senior Trump Organization executives like Alan Weisselberg, the company's longtime chief financial officer. And that is the key, right? Because now we're starting to see players that are involved in this that can potentially flip on Trump. And Weisselberg, from my understanding, is basically his financial officer, like his accountant. So, and he's been his accountant for decades upon decades. So if anybody knows everything there is to know, it's going to be your accountant who basically does the numbers. And we all know how Trump is about how he treats people, as if they're beneath him. And it would seem like not too many people like the guy. I mean, Cohen was his lawyer and friend, supposed long-term friend for decades, forever, right? and he flipped on him without much pressure. It didn't take much. He was ready to goddamn flip on him. And of course, Trump threw him under the bus. So I would also say yes, that it is very interesting, the dynamics that they are pushing so hard to still go after Trump, even though he's out of office. The impeachments didn't work. This guy is about to retire. He's trying to get this is a special grand jury they're bringing together for this case to try to hurry up and get this done before the elections take place. So it's interesting how hard they're pushing to get this ball rolling. And I think Trump is in a whole bunch of trouble here. Welcome to our world, Trump. It'll be crazy if they convict you and you become a felon and then you don't even have the right to vote when it's all said and done. Could you imagine that? A former president gets convicted and becomes a felon and doesn't even have the right to vote? Is this reality? Is this supposed to be confusing? Because I am very confused. It says earlier this month, Politico had reported that officials in Florida, where Trump resides, were putting together current contingency plans in the event that he faced a criminal indictment from New York. They're starting to get all the shit in order because they're basically, I guess, saying they're going to prepare for the goddamn worst. It's not looking good. When you see people starting to put contingency plans together for your belongings, then you know that you might be in the doo doo. It says last week he released a 909-word statement skewing Vance and the state's attorney general, Tish James, and accusing them of political persecution, which I would think he does in this case have a leg to stand on. But like I say, I don't have no spilled tears for Donald Trump. Remember what he said about the Central Park Five? Even though they were found innocent, them boys back in the 80s that was accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. It was 5 young black boys. And it turned out that they didn't do it. Not only did it turn out they were innocent through DNA evidence, but then the actual person who did it came forth and basically admitted to it, right? They had the confession. And even after all that, them boys got acquitted, and all the evidence came out to show to the contrary that they were not guilty. Trump still said, leave them locked up anyway. They probably gonna do something. They probably did something. They probably gonna do something. They black, lock them up. Yeah, but they're innocent. The guy who did it, who raped this white woman, had nothing to do with the black boys, and he confessed. We got the confession, sir, and the DNA evidence lines up with the confession. Yeah, just keep him in jail for life. It doesn't matter. So I don't have no spilled blood on him. Is it wrong? Yeah, but guess what, Trump? For all the black people that got locked up, even when you knew they were innocent and you were okay with it, you didn't have a problem with it being wrong. It wasn't a witch hunt then. So I'm not going to cry for him when they get done with his ass, because they look like they about to tear him a new asshole. But what I will say is, even with that, I still can be objective and say that, yes, this is bullshit. Because if you're not willing to investigate everybody the same, tax fraud, that's the least of the problem. I mean, we could get Bush and Obama, both war criminals. You gonna worry about some goddamn tax fraud, which I'm saying is cool, because that's it's against the law, so you got a leg to stand on if you convict them and get them. But we talking about war criminals, and you gonna arrest him, or you going to prosecute him for tax fraud. Time and time again, man, the money is always over brown and black lives, because them war crimes was against brown people, and we already know how that go. But like I say, man, it is my opinion that Donald Trump has stepped into the doo-doo. Yes, he has. It says, basically, this has been going on for a couple years now. And they finally I think they got him. I think they're going to get him. It's just too much. Trump does way too much for them tax records not to be corrupted. And there's going to be definitely some crime there. Right? There's definitely going to be a there. He's just been doing way too many. You could just tell by you seen what he did to the Trump University, man. How he was scamming the goddamn old people. Right? Everything he does is smoke and mirrors and a scam. And that's why he didn't want them damn taxes released. And he fought so hard to keep them up sealed. Because yes, it's going to be, I would think if they did convict him and did it, they probably make some type of deal with him where they're just going to hit him light, right? The least lightest thing to make it not look too bad, but just get him enough to where, hey, we got you. Or hang it over his head and say, hey, you're not going to run in 2024, because if you do, we're going to nail your ass to the cross, right? But they make it a public spectacle of this, so I don't think that'll be the case, because I think they would have just did that behind closed doors, because now the public's involved and everybody's looking and ready to know. So I think they will probably hit him. That's why they're going for this. This is the least thing they could get him on, this this little tax evasion and all this and paying Stormy Daniels to be quiet. That's what a man gonna do. I don't know what you wanted him to do. You wanted him to not pay her and let her sing? Well, she was an adult porn star actress who slept with him. Of course she slept with him, I would guess and I would assume, for goddamn money. And I don't see nothing wrong with prostitution. Ain't that what the left say? So I think that's the least of the worries. Like, so what, he pays Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet? Okay, whoop-de-fucking do. That is everybody, almost every male sitting politician could be charged with that shit, because almost all of them then paid somebody to keep somebody quiet, as opposed to not pay her. Like, right? I'm not even caring about the Stormy Daniels shit. But of course, they're gonna use that to go ahead and propel it to whatever they go to next. Now, that we're finished with that whole scenario, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking about this whole situation. Oh, let me also say that Donald Trump Jr. is implicated in this. His kids now, right? So now there might be indictments on Trump Jr. You got Giuliani in the mix. Can't forget about that. You know, that whole Giuliani thing is still unfolding. This shit is falling. Weisselberg is accountant. Then you got Cohen coming back, who's got an axe to grind because he had to go to jail, and Trump threw him under the bus. And Cohen already then came out and just now said that he doesn't have any goddamn no doubt that Donald Trump would throw his kids under the bus. He would do anything to save himself. If it came to throwing Ivanka and Trump Jr. under the bus, he would do it. He said he would not put it past him. He's almost like he's guaranteeing that, yeah, he'll throw his kids under the bus. I don't know if that's true or not, because I don't think it's going to be throwing nobody under the damn bus, because they coming, he's the Yoko Ono, they coming for you, bro. Right? It's hard when you the boss to think that you going to goddamn be able to throw the capos under the bus. That's not how this organized crime works. They coming after your capos because they trying to take down the Don. You know you done fucked up, right? So all this shit that you done did, with all this bragging about you gonna be running for 2024, you should have kept your goddamn mouth closed. And if you're gonna run, you should have run. I don't know why you gotta be braggadocious when you know you under investigation. You know these some guns coming after you. And then you know if you seem like you a threat because you're gonna run, that's gonna probably more than likely propel them to want to come after you even more, because you know that's what it's about. So I guess maybe you think that you got the people behind you, and if they try to prosecute you, then it'll just be this type. But you see what happened with the insurrection. That shit went down in flames. It was dead for, that shit lasted a couple hours, and it was nothing but a thought now. Right? Ain't nobody coming to bat for you when this shit hit the fan. Your ass going down, so you need to stop provoking. Now, that's just a word of advice. You could take it or leave it. If you're gonna run, then you could have ran, but you could have kept your damn mouth closed. I mean, what are you gonna run for anyway? What, just because for pride? You hurt? I mean, come on, man. You didn't run the first time because it's, oh, my country art thou of thee, or none of that shit. So what is the point? I tell them to leave you alone, keep your money. Hey, end the investigation. Now stop playing. I'm not gonna really run. Let me keep my money. If you let me keep my money, I won't even run. Let me keep my money. Let me keep my Secret Service. Let me keep my perks. Let me go ahead and retire in dignity. But you want to keep playing games, and you gotta floss. You gotta be flossy. You gotta open your big ass mouth that you can never keep closed. And this what happened to flossy big mouth people. They keep targets on their back, and they coming after your ass. Now, why do I think the Democrats should leave this shit alone and don't even worry about it, leaving water under the bridge, as much as I would like to see this man pay for his crimes? Because I am convinced that Joe Biden is not going to win re-election. If he even makes it, no telling who. Trump might be our best bet. Joe Biden, at least we know he'd have beat him once, so he'd have beat him once, he could beat him again. The worst thing can happen is they do this shit to Trump, convict him, he ain't gonna get locked up, but they strip him from being able to run in 2024. They do all this shit to him where he can't run, and somebody like a DeSantis or somebody fucking worse, like a Pence or somebody, comes along, and now you got all these goddamn Republicans pissed off, and it seems like you are persecuting their king. And they're going to come out with a fire and a fury that you have never seen before. And certain other people are too, that's just going to like that's infatuated with that whole drama of, you know, the underdog and the crime boss type shit. You got them whole swath of people that'll go ahead and just go to give a FU. And the last thing we need is to give the right, the juice and the energy and the goddamn battery in their back to win the next election. Because Joe Biden barely beat Trump. And he gonna be 4 years older than his sleepy, slow, low energy as was this time around. Do you really want to put Joe Biden up against anybody else really besides Trump, who we know he already beat on the Republican side? And do you think that Joe Biden can repeat? So this is where I think this whole shit's going back. For see, Pelosi and them, they old as hell. These people are old and got dementia and they don't think clear. The best thing you could do with all of Trump's baggage, and the country has already spoken, that you done beat him, right? The election was legit, the country spoken. You beat him by millions of votes, is to basically have him to run against again. Or at least have him somewhere bumbling, stumbling around in the primaries with the other Republicans and making them weak. Because there's no guarantee he'll even run, but at least you know if he don't run, he's going to be active and he's going to be attached to whoever. But if you take him completely out of the picture and you rile this damn base on the other side up and you turn him into some underdog, some type of like goddamn martyr, that you're going to have to deal with whoever coming behind him, and that's where I think the problem lies. But of course, progressives and Democrats, these motherfuckers ain't got no strategy, right? So do you really want to put Joe Biden or take a chance of putting anybody from this side? I don't even know. We don't even, what strong candidate do we have on the left? What strong candidate, Kamala Harris, is that who our go-to is going to be? I'm telling you right now, she going to lose. Who they got on the right? Who they got? DeSantis looking like he might be, if it ain't Trump. Really, you want Biden against DeSantis? You want to risk that? I think I'd rather Biden against Trump again. Who else we got over there? You know, tell them who they bring out the woodworks. Might be somebody we don't even know about. They grooming now. Tucker Carlson or some shit. You want Biden against Tucker Carlson, really? I don't think Biden can beat Tucker. At least we know Biden beat Trump. So I would say on the left, y'all need to leave this shit alone. The best thing that might be given to us, the gift that might be given to us, is something that we already know we done. Is let him run again. Pray and hope for him to run again. Because I don't think Biden could beat anybody else. Now remember, I don't think Biden beat Trump. I think everybody voted for Biden, especially when it comes to the black vote. I could tell you, white people, speaking from the heart, from my people, the only reason Biden ass is in office right now is because black people didn't want to vote for Trump. But if they had any other option, damn near any other option, they would have went the other way. So Biden knows, and everybody should know, that Biden did not win this election based on who he is. He won this election based on who Donald Trump is. And now you doing your damnedest to make sure you remove Trump as his opponent. I'm not going to vote for either one of them motherfuckers personally, but I'm just saying, if you strategically, why would you want to get rid of Trump? And that's where I think the problem lies with this whole, what it does seem to me to be a witch hunt. I think it's going to backfire, and they playing with fire here. So anyway, they're investigating Trump. They're investigating his family. They're all under pressure. They're all under duress. I will keep everybody posted on what's going on with this story. I'm also going to do a story. Check out the next story I'm going to do is the Giuliani story that's connected with this, because there's so many moving parts and so many key elements. That's why I think it's a wrap for Trump. I don't even know if they're going to allow him to take a plea deal, or maybe he will take a plea deal and it will have something to do with him making sure he can't run again. But I don't see how else will he get out of this. There's just too many moving parts. There's just too many moving parts. There's too much going on. There's too many people that's willing to flip, going to flip, and able to flip, and there's too many people that know too much shit. They ain't none of them thorough. So I don't see. They got Giuliani, they got Cohen, they got the accountant Weissenberg. Hell, Trump might flip on his kids. Who knows? His kids might even flip on him. Then you got Melania. No, she gonna flip. She already don't. I don't think she can stand his ass. There's a lot going on, man. So congratulations, Democrats, because you might get you might get everything you deserve and ask for. And everybody, we can say hello to our new 2024 president, not president-elect, the Republican president-elect, because I believe that, like I say, Biden didn't win this election on his own merits, and it was damn close. If it was anybody but Trump, I don't even think he would have won. I got there's a good percentage chance that he wouldn't have won if it was anybody. Again, he didn't beat Trump. Trump beat himself. It wasn't a vote for Biden. I'm telling you, I'm black. It was a vote against Trump. Remove him out the equation for the next round, and it will be a vote against Biden. He's not helping his case with none of the shit he's doing. I don't even know what he's doing. He's got all these plans and all these make America first and what the hell has he got? The American Recovery Plan and all this shit, and that shit is just sitting on the shelf. there's a good chance that shit is just gonna collect dust on the shelf to the next, and he gonna be talking about America Recovery Plan. This time we're gonna get it passed. I don't even think he got no more gas left in the tank to even. That's why you ain't heard nothing from him in so long. You don't see him in no interviews. You barely hear from him. When he do, he looks out of it. He just ain't gotten the gusto. No, the gusto's gone, Joe. But he had to get ahead, and he had to satisfy his legacy, right? It's all about his legacy. Me, 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 me. When I said I was gonna be president, and look, me, Jill, I did it. Bo, I did it. At what cost? At what cost, man? Now the greatest shot the Democrats shooting in the damn dark, shooting in the dark. What the best thing you got is to try to arrest or prosecute the Republican nominee. But I think that's gonna wake up the Kraken. Right? You think Trump ain't the goddamn Kraken. He wasn't the Kraken. He's just a bibbling, bobbling buffoon. But you move him out of the way, whoever come behind him, I gotta believe that's gonna be the damn real Antichrist. Trump was nothing. He was incompetent. Right? He is a small-minded person. He's just trying to. All he focused on is enriching himself. That's his driving force. But you gonna fuck around and get somebody who really focused on policy and really focused on having a vision for the country. Huh? Trump ain't no visionary. You gonna fuck around and get a visionary, and then what? So this is what happens when you have progressives on the left and just no strategy. Just don't think shit through. All about emotions. I want to get him. I hate Donald Trump. Please don't let this one think I hate him. The worst thing that can happen for the left is for Donald Trump to be taken out of the equation. Blessings, peace, and love to you and all that you cherish. Peace. We out.